Hello, everyone. It's me, Gary, back once again on Panto Archive, and I'm joined by Panto royalty today, should I say. I'm joined by our brand new Hall of Fame employee. That's not the right word. What am I looking for, Brian? What am I looking for? Brand new Hall of Fame.
International superstar, someone who's been doing it forever, i.e. pantomime, and just honoured to be part of this Panto Archive thing. When I hear archive, I feel as if, oh my God, I've got to talk about, these pantomimes from way, way back, and I genuinely can't remember them. But anyway, I'm very happy to be chatting to you. You're a legend as well, Gary, let's be honest.
Oh, well, I
And
don't,
I
not as
think,
much as you, Brian, obviously.
well, have you got a degree in pantomime?
No, I haven't. Have you?
No, I mean, I think it's amazing that you can get one now. Tell us about it. How'd you get a degree in panto, Gary?
Well, you can go onto a lovely course on Stafford, which our lovely previous Cup of Chat people have told us about. Jefferson has been on it, the course, and you can learn all the skills of Panto now.
I love it.
Is it
I wonder if I
amazing?
know.
I just
Oh,
made it
yeah.
up, Brian, when I did it. When I put the frock on, I make it up.
I think we all did. We all did those early days.
Well,
Um,
welcome to the Hall of Fame. We're so proud to have you. You've joined many other people that have come before you. We've had Leslie Joseph last year, who was the previous
Good.
winner. We had Rowley year before that. We've had Richard Cadell, the Chuckle Brothers, you name it. And a lot of
Uh,
people thought that you are the one to join the list this year. So
well, that's
congratulations.
very kind of you. I'm honoured to be part of this list. I mean, there's some real legends in there with regards to pantomime who understand the magic of panto and how it works. And there is a lot more to it than you think. And of course, the sheer stamina of doing, I mean, this year, I was in Milton Keynes and we've done 62 shows in
Wow.
about a month. So there's, you've got to take it seriously, and your day off would be Christmas Day. So, everyone's like, where? And you're like,
Yeah.
especially once you've had the turkey. But no, I genuinely love pantomime and I take it very seriously.
Hmm.
And the best thing for me is, and it always happens when people come to the stage door and they go, I brought the kids, but I've had the best time ever. And I go, well, you know why? Because you're buying the tickets. But it's very important to play to the whole crowd, from a 3-year-old to a 90-year-old. Everyone has to have a good time.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I was in Northampton as I am at Christmas. So when our run finished on New Year's Eve, we managed to come and see you at Milton Keynes this year. And we absolutely loved it. And that was one of the things that I said to the people that I was with, that you target every age group, which is important,
Mhm.
isn't it, in Panto?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not as though, I mean, I'm cheeky. I'm not rude. I wouldn't mind, when my kids were little, they maybe that's the sort of like the line that I go, right, would I mind them hearing this? And so there's that, but there's cheekiness, there's lots of farts, there's lots of, just being silly and very visual. The thing with Panto, I find that what plays across the board is keeping it really visual and
Mm.
silly, and not too many, boom, jokes. It's just stupid. It's silly, and it's gently sort of taking that. Well, I hope I can say it, taking the piss out of what we're doing. It's. I think a line that sums it up for me is, it used to be with Cinderella, and and she come back on later on, and I go, oh my God, Cinders, I don't believe it. I thought you'd gone back to the dressing room, but it's just that little line where it's a nod to how ridiculous this is, but then also we're still telling the story, So I think, and how spectacular it is. Michael Harrison, they spend fortunes on these pantomimes. So it's important that it's busy, so that everyone makes a lot of money, and that's the important thing. In my head, whenever I'm doing the show, whether it be a matinee or an evening, I'm always thinking, I want them to tell their friends. They have to tell their friends. They have to go away. A show is fueled by word of mouth. Better
Mm.
than any poster, better than anything. You're relying on them. And that's why, at the end of the show, I tell them we've got X amount of days left. We haven't got long, because when you're sort of in December, end of December, you think, oh, no, it doesn't finish till the 11th of Jan, but really that's only a week away or 2 weeks away. So it's about winding them up and making sure that everyone goes away. And I would say if they like it, they tell 10 friends. If they don't like it, they tell 20.
Mm. Very true. Very true indeed.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean, I'll talk from Goldilocks that we saw last Christmas. It was a fabulous show. You were brilliant.
Mhm.
The whole cast were great in it. And the
Mhm.
set, as you said, was amazing. There's a lot of money and time put into these
Mhm.
productions. And
Mhm.
it read so, so well. We went away thinking, because I'll be honest, we were a bit like, oh, Goldilocks. What
Mhm.
is there? It's a 3-minute
Mhm.
story, isn't it? Really?
Exactly. Yeah,
But
yeah,
it
yeah.
was it was fabulous from start to finish. And
Mhm.
your chemistry, I know it's your real daughter, but that
Mhm.
chemistry was
Mhm.
absolutely brilliant. It was wonderful to
Ah,
watch.
I do, obviously my daughter's playing Goldilocks, and I think, I said to her, I said, before, because she'd done a pantomime before, and she's grown up in panto, helping me coming to see, in the dressing room. And I said, you've got a hard job, because when people, reviewers sit there, they all go, oh, I know why she's there. I know why she's there. So you have got a hard job. You've got an even harder job to prove, that it's valid. And that's why. And you're right. And I appreciate what you're saying, Gary, because she is a good performer. She's
Mm,
grown up in this business. She understands the energy and how you got her attack.
yeah.
And I'm very proud of her. And there's 3 songs in the show. The opening, another one with the bears, and another one what she does with a magician called Fly, and all 3 of them she wrote.
Oh, really? Oh,
She wrote those
interesting.
songs,
Yeah.
because and we worked really hard because I'd done Cinderella for many years, and Cinderella has been a wonderful vehicle for me. But
Mm.
quite obviously, I'm getting too old to play Buttons. Buttons lusts and fancies Goldilocks, and as the years went on, my Goldilocks just get older and older. He
Mm.
said we got to find another vehicle. So they said, how about sorry, Cinderella, but how about
Yeah.
doing Goldilocks? And I went, so then we looked at scripts and looked at how other people might have done it, and just felt that it needed a story. It needed
Mm.
a lot more to it, and of course, when you do get into the house and the porridge and everything else. Everyone knows that. We kept going, how can we push this along? How can we tell this part of the story? Because as you know, our story is very much about the 2 circuses, an evil
Mm.
circus and my circus. I'm Billy Barnum, my daughter's Goldilocks. And of course, Goldilocks finds the bears, and then the evil Baron wants to kidnap the bears. And so how can we sort of make this work, so, and with the regards in the house and actually telling the bit of the story,
Yeah.
which when you do read it is like you absolutely hit it nail on the head. It's like 3 pages. All right, she
Yeah.
goes in, she eats the porridge, bears see her, she gets scared and runs out, and
Mm.
that's it. They don't follow her or anything. So we did that, and I thought, well, how about if I'm the thoughts in your head, and I'm driving it? So all these things made it work, I feel, and we tuned it up because the year before we was in Bristol, and that was it, brand new, and then this year we had tuned it up and going, oh, let's do this, let's do that, and I love tuning it up and making sure that everyone's in a good place, and
Mhm.
whether it be the Dame or anyone, I'll help write stuff for them, and just wanting it to be really good,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
not to lose them as an audience. Because if you start putting in lots of songs, even if they're really popular songs, you can they can drift away. A panto's driven by
Mm.
comedy. It has to be. When many, many years ago, it used to be that, say, the top of the bill would take about 20 minutes before the top of the bill come on. You'd have the Baron come on, then you'd have the Adlib, then you'd have this, then you'd have that, and then finally, and me and Paul Elliott said, we just got to get on with it. People know
Yeah.
the story. So within that couple of minutes song, I mean, I'm using this say with regards, I'm telling you about Cinderella. Cinderella, we get the outfits on, we know exactly what they are. The Baron might come on, Cinderella's there, the Prince comes on, everything's out the way. But, within the first 3 minutes, and now we're into comedy. Now we're into, right, let's make them laugh, let's take them somewhere, and that's it. And what I love about it, and what I often say at the end of the pantomime, I said, you know what? You are all going to go home and you're going to sit in that car and you're going to talk about this because this has been a shared experience where none of you have had any distractions, none of you have been on your phones, or watching the telly, or you've shared this. And that's so important. There's just nothing out there these days where the whole family have had a great night out and are going home buzzing and talking about it. And that's very special in this day and age.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we did exactly that. And every show, it must feel different because you're still getting the audience involved. You had someone come up on the stage, which I thought was wonderful,
Yeah,
who
yeah,
turned into a very nice version of you.
yeah. My twin brother.
Yeah, your twin
Yeah,
brother. That's it.
I mean they love it when you get involved, and of course I do a bit with the guy and do a little duet, but really that's just to get him on stage and to take applause and a bow and then go off. And then the Baron wants the D's of the circus, and I say I haven't got them. And he goes, "Who's got 'em?" My twin brother, and of course he comes on with a white hair and a beard and my jacket and of course we never know what they're going to say, and of course with the kids, the kids is I feel a real art,
Yeah,
to sort of make sure that yes they're having fun, but you're not really ripping into them, that the comedy just comes out of what they're saying and doing,
yeah,
and as an audience you can throw everything out of pantomime, but the kids at the end, they always talk about that moment at the end when the kids are on stage, is just it's magical. And I don't know, often I'll get the last child to sing "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star," and that is just it's amazing.
it is. It
But
was
also, what
wonderful. I enjoyed it
sorry,
all
Gary.
round. No, sorry, Brian. You carry on. I enjoyed it all round. That's all I
I
was going to
think,
say.
yeah, and why I love it. And yes, I've been doing Back to the Future, the musical,
Mm,
just before this year. I went and done Milton Keynes, and I had a week off. But it was so lovely to get back in the panto because of the freedom, because the audience want you to have a laugh. It's the only sort of discipline where they want those actors. They want me to make that actor laugh, whoever I'm with, But also in pantomime, you've got the singing, you've got the dancing, you've got the pathos, you've got the acting, you've got all the comedy, you've got topical material, you're working with the audience, you've got little kids on stage. There's nothing like that. You have to sort of tick all the boxes if you're going to be successful, And for me, I feel so content, and that's not the right word, but at the end,
yeah,
going, well, quite, I've ticked every box tonight. When you're in Back to the Future and playing Doc, you're playing Doc. It's like a tennis match between you and the other actor. You've got to deliver the lines exactly the same as you did the night before. So, but with Panto, it's just up in the air. And
yeah.
people, Americans and people like that, I go, what's Panto then? Oh, they'll come and they go, they'll be very envious, so they haven't got anything like this.
Mm,
But then they go, oh, if you're trying to explain it to them, I sort of go, well, it's a bit like Shrek. If you've watched
mm.
Shrek, where they've got topical humour, topical songs, and just how they break that fourth wall all the time.
That's a great way of
Cheers.
actually looking at. Cheers, cheers. Now, I'm glad you mentioned about your musicals because actually, I'm going to let you in a bit of a secret here. That the
Mhm.
first time when I was I'm sorry, I'm going to make you feel a bit old, Brian, maybe, but when I was younger, I saw you in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang all those years ago,
Wow.
and
Yes, at the
I thought
Palladium.
at the Palladium, yes, at the London Palladium, and I thought you were fantastic then. And then I saw you on two of my own heroes, Dick and Dom in the Bungalow. And I was like, it's that guy again. And that's why I started following you and seeing
Uh,
what you're up to and found that you did this fabulous career of panto. I mean, you've done it for years now, Brian. Is
yes.
there anyone that you are still like, I want to do that one day? Because you've done a lot of Cinderella, you're in Goldilocks now.
I've done them all. I think so. And Aladdin and Dick
Yeah.
Whittington and Robinson Crusoe and I mean, if you go on Wikipedia, I've done 35, but I really think I've done over 40. I
Mm,
mean, I've been in the game now for would you believe 50 years because I went to stage school and I got my equity card when I was 12. And in the 70s, there was only four stage schools, and I didn't stop working.
mm.
So, on my first panto, I was 18, and that was in 1979, and I was with Kenny Smiles, and that was Robinson Crusoe. And I worked with so many different people, but I don't even know what the question was.
I've
Uh,
said, is there one that you still want to do that you've not
oh, right.
done?
No, I was yeah, I mean, there's a lot you can't do now,
Mm,
so uh, maybe Robin Hood would be fun. But for me, I love tuning it up. And they are different every year. We'll go, oh, let's change that, or did that really work? Can we make that better? And I love making and knowing that it does work. And of course, maybe people are unaware that everyone, we don't start afresh. When we go, like next year, I'm in Woking, and possibly a year after. Nottingham. So, it's sort of mapped out,
he's
which is
giving the
lovely.
gossip out. Look, he's giving the gossip.
Yeah. And it's wonderful. We're all self-employed and to know, oh, at the end of the year, I've got that.
Yeah.
But we move as a group, it doesn't start afresh.
Mm,
Often I'll have the same villain, David as plays my mum, Betty Barnum, even the dancers. We try and keep everyone once it's up and running and we know everyone's good,
yeah.
we'll try and move it. And of course that we don't have to rehearse as much. We rehearse the new bits, and we all know what we're doing. And Catherine directs it, who's brilliant, and they're normally the same choreographers. So once it's tuned up, and I know it's taken our audience somewhere, and it has taken. Like Bristol, we were real tuning it up still,
Mm,
but this year I really felt like, we've got a wonderful show now,
yeah.
and to start afresh is a lot of hard work because I don't just get the script and go, right, that's it. I'll work on it as I did with Cinderella, Goldilocks. I worked on it for a whole year before we then done it in Bristol.
Mm.
With regards music, even the costumes, even my props are mine. I
Oh,
bring
really?
everything. I have a little van full of stuff. I have a huge in my garage, a Portaloo, massive Portaloo that within this sketch, it looks like this builder's carrying the Portaloo, but really, obviously, it's my legs. And then when I turn around, I'm sitting on this toilet with these trousers, with these false legs with the trousers down. I've got that. I bought that. I had it made, and all the incidental music, I will go into a studio and make sure all that's ready to go because we start rehearsals, you know what it's like. It's like we haven't got long at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is why, Brian, that many people, including myself and lots of people who we talk with in the industry, wanted you involved because we've heard in this Hall of Fame because we've heard how much of a passion. It's not just you turn up, you
No,
perform, and you've had your night as such.
no.
It is part of your life, isn't it? From
Oh,
one
it
minute
has
to the
been.
next.
Yeah, all my life.
Mm,
I take it extremely seriously. People moan, go, "Oh, and it hard," and I go, "Yes, it is." You get a week or two under your belt, and then suddenly it really is like war. But it's very important, and I want it to be a huge success. So the Crossroads go, "We want you next year." We're all self-employed. You've got
yeah,
to blitz them. So for me, it's very important that because I know if it does well, then next year it's on the cards, and I'm very lucky. Like I say, they're even talking about Nottingham,
yeah,
and for me as a self-employed performer, it's such a relief to know that
mhm,
at Christmas I'm busy,
yeah. I totally
and of
agree,
course,
and always try and. I mean, you're on a different level, obviously, Brian, but even someone who local theatres like me, it is nice to have, as you say, a booking in place, isn't it? As such, and if you can get that
absolutely,
panto, I always try and say to people, just work as hard as you can wherever
Mm,
you are, because if you're
mm.
asked back, A, it means you've done a fantastic job, and B, you've got a booking already for the next year. It's wonderful
Yes.
then.
Yeah. So, people go out. I mean, obviously, I'm a lot older, but everyone, yeah, this will go out tonight. And I go, no, it's going to mess my throat up.
Mm,
I'm out there all night, driving it. And yeah, I do. I take it very seriously. And then
mhm.
at the end, Michael comes in, God bless him, Mr. Harrison, who's in charge. And just goes, that was unbelievable, Brian, and that's what I want.
Yeah,
And I also, when you're top of the bill, you set in the bar. This is where we go. This is what we've got to do.
mm,
And keeping an eye on everything. If you're giving 110, everyone else does.
yeah.
And I do. I want them standing at the end. And I'm very, very grateful for pantomime. Pantomime has been brilliant. Look at the size of my house.
It looks lovely. You can
Thank
have
you.
well, you've got enough room for your portaloo, obviously. So it's
I have, yeah, but I keep it in the garage. It's a bit scary having it here. But I couldn't get, no, I'll tell you why it's in the garage. I couldn't get it through a door. I genuinely, when I had it made, I went, oh, I'll be able to put that up in the loft. And no, it won't go anywhere. It's got to sit in the garage, you
mm,
know. But I've worked with many stars over the years, and, you take a bit from them, and how a lot of people, take it seriously.
mm,
But it's in me, and I just love the fact that it's a family, it's a whole audience. They're all wetting themselves. They're also, and I just love that buzz. And then you've got the ad lib, and then you're making the other actors laugh, and then you've got the little
yeah.
kids at the end, and you never know what they're going to say or do. And
And
it's
you know
it,
what's
and
so lovely, Brian, is that you're saying exactly the same as what everyone we've added into this Hall of Fame has said. Leslie said the same thing from a villain point of view last year.
mm,
Richard said the same with Sooty.
mm,
It's just about making entertainment, letting people have a great time, and doing the
yeah.
best you can as well.
Yes, and taking it
Yeah,
seriously.
take it
You know,
seriously.
yeah, it's a commitment. If they're paying well earned, they've earned this money. There's four of them. They're all paying, oh God, 50 quid a ticket some
Mm,
nights, especially at the weekends and that. They've all spent a lot of money, and it's your responsibility. And like I say, always in the back of my head, and I say this on the first day of rehearsals, I want them to go away and tell their friends.
yeah.
They have to tell their friends. That's the only way we're going to survive. And you watch shows in the West End, and all the greats. Even when you watch Phantom, I went to see Phantom a couple of years ago, thinking, oh, I'll go. There was some cheap ticket, and I loved it. And I said to everyone, oh, you've got to go and see it. It's pretty. But all these shows that have been on for a while are relying on word of mouth, and of course, that's the only way they'll survive.
Yeah.
But it's a real honour to be, to be up there and to be top of the bill. And when you look at the poster and go, well, it's just your picture there, Brian. You better be good. And there's that responsibility.
Yeah, and at Milton Keynes there was a massive picture of you, so you couldn't
I
get
know,
away from it at all. You were like the whole length of the building.
I know. It is funny and seriously airbrushed. Let's be honest, But like I say, with everyone, I worry about the whole show. I worry about everyone on it, making sure everyone's doing well. And yeah, sorry to waffle on about it, but I
No,
do get
no,
very
it's
passionate.
wonderful to listen to it because it's someone who is clearly passionate about it
Mm.
and loves the
Mm.
form. And you are heading our bill now in the Hall of Fame, which is so
But
so
no, but
wonderful
that's
to have you
lovely.
here. Congratulations.
You
We will get an award to you as well. We've got an award that we will somehow
really?
get to you in the magic of theatre of
Oh, well,
to give
that's lovely. Well,
and your
I'm
page
honoured. I'm
obviously is
honoured.
online will be online is online when people are watching this
Mhm.
with all your credits. I was just having a quick look when you said if I go on Wikipedia then there's only
Yeah.
so many credits, and I thought I'll have a look and make sure we've got your first one on there and we've gone all the way through, so the only place to find hopefully all your credits is on the Panto Archive.
Oh
Brian, just
well.
before we finish, is there
Mhm.
anything that you think we need to bring back into the world of Panto that maybe's gone a far from previous
I
times?
think there's not many people do the kids now. But there's a real art to that, and it can be scary. And I've just got, as I've got older, and of course, once I had kids, it became something else. Um, no, I think Michael's very clever, Mr. Harrison, who puts his on, always puts in some big illusions or big tricks, And I just think pace is so important. I
Mm.
don't even wait for him to laugh. I'm just going bang, 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 and pace is part of it. And I think genuinely the problem pantomime has, and there's no disrespect to amateur dramatics, but they have this image of the Churchill with the vicar dressed as a dame, and in a way, it is a million miles away from that. It's a huge West End production, and people that don't know that, I always say, anyone, like, when I done Back to the Future, there was a few American people in it. There was the dancers and everyone else. I said, come and see the Panto. And they were like, I said, come along. I'll get you tickets. Just come. And we absolutely blew them away because they just don't expect it. They don't expect the production values and how big it is and how set some of those. I mean, when I was in Cinderella, we had the most amazing coach that I know it costs Crossroads £1 million. And this isn't, this is expected to last for many years for them to get their money back. But this thing rose up, went out. It had, I don't know if you've ever seen this one. It was at the play, the animatronic horses. And everything else, and I was the coach for Cinderella in the back, and those certain things that they brought on board, which has just been nurtured and created over the years, with the twins effects and everything. I wish people were sort of knew that, because when you go, you're in pantomime. Let's be honest, people that haven't seen it or haven't seen any of the big ones, they go, oh really? You go, no, you come and see it. You come and see what a big pantomime is really like. It's a huge production.
And it was indeed. It was indeed at Milton Keynes. As I say, the set, to speak on its alone, that all those lights were going in certain times and things.
Gary, there's 7,000.
Was there 7,000 lights? No wonder it looked good.
I know. You got that. It just goes back, doesn't it? It gives it that depth and everything else. But
it's absolutely wonderful, Brian. I can't praise you and the whole team enough. But you were leading it all the way through. That gorgeous moment I spoke about earlier with your daughter at the end of the show when she went on her adventures. Sorry for spoilers, but that was wonderful as well. One final thing just for me to ask you. It's £1 million question, and you're probably not going to have an answer, but we're going to ask you anyway. Who do you think should be in the Hall of Fame next year?
Oh, that's a goodie. Cool, blimey.
Who's following you, Brian?
You? I don't know if you've got many dames there. I really love David, who works with us, because I think some of those dames everything David's got, is his. There is costumes. He makes all the wigs. The work that goes into that for many months leading up to Panto, especially if there's something topical. Do you think you can make a dress like that? I just think. You need one of those ones that are so invested, like Andrew. Andrew at Birmingham. There's such an art to being a dame. A lot of people, a dame is like a mum. I remember when I played Edna in Hairspray, they said, you got to remember she was a mum, and that was the best note I got, she's a mum, and that's what they are. They're cuddly and nice and, mumsified. But I think a dame will be good. Mind you, you've had a few in there, haven't you?
We have, yeah. I was just having a quick look. Our last dame was Bobby Crush in 2021. So it could be time for another dame. We've heard it here first with Brian Conley. Brian, congratulations for joining the Hall of Fame. You've worked so hard for Panto, which we and many more people who put you forward have said, and we thank you so much. And once again, congratulations.
It's a wonderful honour, and it's a lovely that there is a Panto Archive, and that's what I say at the end. I'm 64 and I do remember, I don't know who was in it, but I remember that first pantomime I saw. I
Mm.
really do. And kids do.
Yeah.
They will remember this, especially once you get them up, you know. And I know you came to see it. And I said, you know, she's 4 and she will never forget this. And that is the real magic of pantomime.
Mm.
And there's so many people I've met over the years that I've been in a show with, and they'll go, I was one of the babes, or yes, you got me up, you know, and things like that. And it's so important, as I'm sure everyone said, to educate, you know, people into the magic of live performing and how dangerous it is, and breaking that fourth wall, and how exciting it is. And it fuels theatre. And, you know, people go, well, actually, I wouldn't mind seeing another show, you know. So it's so important, you know, and
Yeah.
I'm very honoured to be part of the Panto Archives and the Hall of Fame. And thank you for that. And I'm filling up now, Karen.
Oh, well, we better leave him before he starts crying all the way. Brian, thank you so much. We'll speak to you
God
again
bless
soon, I'm
you
sure.
all, and a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. See you soon.